Well, hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess. This is canning 25. Y'all, we purchased some tomatoes from the Amish, 2 boxes, 20 pounds each for $15 a box. Big, beautiful tomatoes, just gorgeous. And we're going to be canning these and making these into spaghetti sauce or marinara sauce, whichever one you want to call them. And I had a few of my tomatoes left over from my garden that I'm throwing into this batch as well. I'm hoping to get at least 2.5 gallons to start with, and then I can work through the rest of them another day and get the sauce cooking. Now, this may be a 2-day or 3-day project, I don't know, but we're going to have plenty of marinara sauce on our pantry shelves to last us through the winter months and into the spring. And we love our spaghetti sauce, homemade spaghetti sauce, so this will be kind of like a base for that because I do add other ingredients as I am cooking it. So let's get started. Okay, as you can see, I didn't quite get 2.5 gallons, but I got close to it. I'm going to pull some tomatoes out of my pantry that I've already canned because I can use those to finish out this product. I'm getting my recipe out of the USDA Complete Guide of Home Canning, the 2020 printing edition. The recipe will be found on page 13.3 and 313 and 314, and it should yield 9 pints. Now, I'll probably get more than that because I don't let it go cook all the way down to half of what I've got here. So, this recipe calls for 30 pounds of tomatoes. A 1-gallon glass jar will equal 11 pounds of tomatoes. A half-gallon jar will equal 5 pounds of tomatoes. A 1-quart jar is usually 2.75 pounds of tomatoes. So we're going to be very, very close to what we're looking for. I'm going to pull out a pint and a quart, or I might pull out 2 quarts and just go a little bit over on my tomatoes. You're going to need 1 cup of chopped onions, 5 garlic cloves minced, 1 cup of celery or green bell peppers cut up. You can put in fresh mushrooms sliced, 1 pound. I'm going to omit those. 4.5 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of oregano, 4 tablespoons of minced parsley, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, and I'm going to omit the last 2 ingredients, which are 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. You're going to, of course, you're going to dip and remove the skins and cores. And then you want to get your tomatoes to the consistency that you want. You can put them through a food processor to crush them. You're going to allow it to boil for about 20 minutes uncovered. And then you're going to put it through the food mill or sieve, whatever you plan on doing. If you want to remove the seeds, you do that. It calls for sauteed onions, garlic, celery, or peppers and mushrooms. I'm not going to saute mine. We're going to combine them all and bring them to a boil and simmer uncovered until it thickens to the consistency that you want it to do. And usually it's nearly 1/2 of the amount of tomatoes that you have. Then I'm going to put them into hot jars, leaving a 1-inch headspace, debubble, wipe my rims with vinegar, apply my lids, and get them into the pressure canner, And for my altitude, it's 10 pounds of pressure, and I will be doing pints for 20 minutes and quarts for 25 minutes. And it does give the alternatives in this book for your altitudes. So be aware that it is in here. That's what we're doing today. We're going to get this started. And I may be back tomorrow because I'm thinking I'm going to pull out my roaster and just let this rest overnight and cook down until I'm ready for it to be canned. All right, I've got my roaster out here. I've opened up a quart jar, plus I've added a pint to my half-gallon. These will break down because they've already been cooking or cooked. Here goes the half-gallon. I added crushed tomatoes to the half-gallon. And I'm going to be breaking these up as they cook with a potato masher. Here goes another gallon. And my last gallon. So I'm going to allow these to start cooking down. I'm going to get my vegetables chopped and ready to go in here, and then I'm going to allow this to cook today and keep a close eye on it so it doesn't scorch. And then by tomorrow morning, I should have enough in here to make tomato sauce. Now I like to cook it down at least a third or a little more, but not quite a half, because I can always add tomato paste or other products to thicken it up when I take it out of the canning jar. So these are going to be cooking for a while in the roaster. And what I'll do is I set this, I've got it set on 300 degrees for now, but overnight I'll turn that temperature back down to about 150. And I'm just going to set my lid on there and allow steam to come out on either side. So I have a kitchen to get cleaned up. I'm going to allow this to cook. I'm going to do other household chores while I'm waiting for this to cook down, keeping an eye on it throughout the day. And then tomorrow I'll add in my vegetables, my onions, my bell peppers, and other seasonings that I want to add to this. You don't want to change the amount of bell peppers, onions, and so forth. You can add more spices, like we like sweet basil in ours. So I'll add some sweet basil in. Not a lot, just enough to give it the flavor. And we're going to allow this to cook, and hopefully we'll get a few quarts out of this. If not, I'll do them in pint jars. 2 tablespoons of oregano. 4.5 teaspoons of canning salt. 4 tablespoons of parsley. 3 tablespoons of sweet basil. You always want to go 1.5 times on your sweet basil than the oregano. 5 teaspoons or 5 cloves of minced garlic. 1 cup each of onion and bell pepper. Canning salt. Oregano. Parsley. Sweet basil. It looks like a lot of spice, I know. minced garlic. That's my fermented garlic, by the way. 1 cup of chopped bell pepper. 1 chopped fresh onion. I'm going to give this a stir. Make sure all those spices are incorporated. It smells like sauce, y'all. The reason I leave out the oil is I'm not sauteing the vegetables, and I leave out the sugar because I'm a diabetic and I can't have the sugar. So it will be a little more acidic on my stomach, but at least I won't be getting that extra sugar that I don't need in my body. We're going to get our canner set up and our jars set up. Allow this to cook for a few more minutes, and then we're going to be canning. All right, I'm using my sink because I have no counter space today, but I've allowed these jars to heat up. I'm just going to dump them one at a time and get the jar filled and move on to the next jar. I'm hoping to get at least 5 quarts out of this. I know the recipe called for 9 pints. But I always make my sauce just a little bit loose so I can add other ingredients to it when I take it out of the jar. And double check my headspace. 1-inch headspace. Okay, I've got those 5 quarts filled. I'm going to get the rims wiped, debubble them, adjust the liquid in them, wipe them, and get my lids on them. I'm just going to set my band over there, or my funnel. So, I was just, oops, almost lost it. Get it back in there. It's hot. I was just a little bit shy on having it to 1-inch headspace, so I added hot water to the top just to go ahead and get this processed. Maybe a tablespoon or 2 of water just to make sure I could go ahead and process. And I got 7 quarts. So we're going to apply our lid. I've already added some grease to the edge of my canner and greased my gasket inside. I'm going to double check my peephole. You want to see light through that peephole. And apply my lid. This is a brand new canner my husband purchased for me so that I could do 2 burners, because I've got 2 burners that are made for home canning, and that way it'll save me time when I have bulk canning to do with the pressure canner. So we're going to let this vent for 10 minutes. My altitude, according to my altitude, it's 10 pounds of pressure. And so I've got my weight ready for that. In the meantime, I'm going to get my kitchen cleaned up and have a place to set my canning jars. When they come out of the canner, they will process pints for, let me look at the book again. Pints are for 20 minutes and quarts are for 25 minutes. So I got a little bit more than the recipe said. I cannot ever go by what they say the actual yield is, because I never know with my canning. And we'll see how this turns out. I think it's going to taste pretty good. I'm going to give it a little taste test because I've got some on the rim of this. So a little finger taste test. It's good and fresh. Yummy. Mm-hmm. That's good. Y'all, this smells so amazing coming out of the canner. Homemade marinara sauce ready for the pantry shelf. I'm just waiting for my lids to start pinging and sealing. These will sit on my counter 12 to 24 hours. I'll wash my jars, label them, and get them into the pantry. Great way to use up some of your tomatoes that you got in your garden, and maybe some that you purchased like I did, and have something, a wonderful, easy meal ahead of you. Hey friends, thank you so much for watching my channel. Thank you for the many comments, the likes, the friendships, and for sharing this content out. Take a moment and watch all of the advertisements, because that is how I get monetized and get paid. I appreciate each and every one of you for your time and your patience. And y'all, I have this special content over here I think you might like.